So this one is for the ladies who are interested in going into this business. So I personally went into this business because I had someone that showed me the way. And that's kind of the way it's usually done, which makes sense. I mean, that's how I learn fastest, and is someone already knows how to do it and shows me, right? So I worked with her until I launched myself. And so being a woman in this business, it's much more established than being a man in this business. So that's kind of the perk. This is a perk about being a woman, is we can be in this field, and it's been established since the beginning of time, it feels like. So I was kind of surprised, because I grew up Christian, and I had no idea that this stuff was going on back behind the scenes somewhere. But it's a common thing for men to call up a woman like myself. Well, I'm kind of more the rare version, so not so much maybe, but say a sex worker. I don't consider myself a sex worker because I'm more of a high priestess tantric professional, which is on the high end of the scale and harder to find. But let's just say a sex worker who maybe is going to give you sensual massage. That's something that a guy can look up and call and go in that same day and get a sensual massage with a happy ending, and there you have it. And that's readily available. And I was like, oh wow, I had no idea that was going on. So anyway, it was interesting to get into this field. So I'll do a video about how I got started and how that was. So yeah, then if you're actually trained, because a lot of women who are sex workers aren't actually trained. I think their girlfriend just gets them into it, and they're needing to make money, and then they're kind of, most of them are follow along those lines. Or you can be highly trained like myself, who really takes it to a whole nother level, because you'll see on my website, there's a lot of trainings that I did. There's quite a few Tantra schools out there, or at least, a handful of them, and I've been to many of them, because it just adds that much more credibility to what I do. And I love to learn, and everything that, every time I learn stuff, it makes my love life better, and then it makes it better for my clients and my students and everyone, because here I am sharing it with you now. So one thing I will say, when you go to a Tantra seminar or school, they're not really so much training you how to do the business, in my opinion. I would have been lost if I had tried to do it solely from that, because they're not really going into the real specifics about what happens from beginning to end, from when that phone call comes in to when the client arrives, to what do you do until they leave, and how you market it and all that stuff. They're not very specific about that. What I found is they're kind of more teaching you the techniques, because not everyone's there to do the business. A lot of them, they're just there with their partners, and they're wanting to be better lovers. And just, it's fascinating. So why not learn how to be a better lover just for your own life? But a lot of them are in the field as well, but you're learning more about the techniques, and then it's like you're kind of a little bit more on your own as to how to translate that into a business. So at any rate, that's where I come in. So I was kind of just thrown in there, frankly, without much training when I first started, and then I kind of observed how all the logistics happened, and then I went to all the Tantra trainings, because I found that she wasn't as tantric as she claimed to be, which is common. So make sure that if you do go to get in a session, ask them, what is it that you do that's considered Tantra? And then hopefully they won't go, because, it usually involves certain techniques, and a lot of times it involves the prostate massage, you know, which they wouldn't even let us use that term on our advertising. I have a feeling they still don't, which is just weird to me. Because it can be really, really powerful part of the session, but it was so taboo, I suppose. At any rate, what else do I want to tell you? Yes, we can do this online, and we can also do it in person, or a little of both. So I live in Maui, and we can do some training here if you want to come out for a weekend or a week or whatever. And we can also do, a lot of it is also just education, you know, education about the techniques, education about different situations you might come across, around education around the whole marketing part of it, and how you're going to present yourself and put yourself out in the world, and like talking about what your particular session routine looks like, and you know what your treatment room looks like. Yeah, there's all kinds of things. So there's lots of different things to cover, and so we can do that online, you know, if you live in a different state or country even, and we can cover these things. And then we can also do it in person, so that it really sinks in. I will say this, which is kind of a fascinating discovery, is that as a pro, of course, I've been doing this like 16 years now, and I'm one of those ones that likes to master things and do it very well. I was always a straight A student, and I love to learn, and I like to continue to get tools and to bring to the tool belt, so that I have a lot of things to offer for different situations and different needs that students or clients might have. And I have found, because, you know, a big part of the relationship field, which, you know, Tantra is part of for me in the way I do it, is communication skills. And I think you'll find in whatever field it is, in this case Tantra, the pro will know how to word things in just the right way that makes things go smoothly. And so that is a big part of what I offer when I'm training someone. I realized is that, you know, like I have a routine where I cover a lot, say in like the hour and a half session, which is what I do most of the time. From beginning to end, there's a lot that takes place in that hour and a half. It's a very transformational, loaded hour and a half. And what I say when is very scripted, or, you know, intentional, because what I say when is kind of what creates the whole atmosphere and container, safe container that we're working in. If they have questions that are typical of them, I already know how to answer those in a way that's graceful. So it just works better when you know how to say things and communicate well, especially around hot topics like sexuality. So at any rate, you can reach out to me if you're interested in learning more and wanting to do some online sessions, you know, to look into it or whatever. It does pay well, which is kind of a nice draw. And I will say that some women usually know if they're kind of drawn to it or not naturally. I've done this in past lives. I've found that out, you know, through certain, like getting Akashic record readings and stuff like that. Like I was a geisha in one life, and I did the sacred, in Atlantis, did sacred ceremony and whatnot as a priestess. So it came very naturally to me. I did not have any issues around sexuality when I went into session, like some women can, where they, you know, like they can get triggered or realize that they need to work through some things. Even though we're not having sex with our clients, sometimes just it'll bring stuff up for people. But I never really had that. It was pretty straightforward for me, and I was very high priestess about it, just very professional about it, knew exactly what I was doing, what I was offering, what I wasn't offering. Um, and it was pretty straightforward and clear, but if it's not for a lot of women, it's a process sometimes. So anyway, um, just thought I would talk about it because it is an amazing thing to be a part of. I love being the messenger of this kind of like mystery school information that's kind of gotten hidden over the years because the powers that be didn't want us to know this stuff. They didn't want us to be empowered in this way. They didn't want us doing sex magic to manifest stuff in our life. They didn't want us to, our Kundalini to get awakened and for us to get activated in new ways and to have that kind of fulfillment in relationship and in sexuality, because it's super powerful when used and done, with consciousness. So that's why we're reclaiming it. And I love being the person that gets to help activate my student or client in these ways, because it does, that is one of the biggest things I think that Tantra offers, is it's activating our bodies in the ways that they were meant to be activated, because we lost some of those activations when we got dumbed down and our DNA was modified through vaccines and whatever, medicines and meds. They kind of modify your DNA and brain chemistry and stuff. So we have to reclaim all that back and get that divine template back up and running, and so that the energy can move and we can grow back into our divine original selves. All right, aloha for now.